All right. Welcome. Yeah, you are listening to Transparency and Merit. And today the Ahmaud Arbery, hope I said that right, and social media. The Arbery story hit big. I don't even know. Did it happen yesterday? When did this all go down?
Oh no, this happened in February, Joe.
What?
No, this happened a while ago, and a lot of stuff is being bantied about this whole issue, and
I hadn't heard of it until today. Were you aware of it?
I was aware of it yesterday. I just because we had planned for planned for a show. So I chose not to. I had chosen not to. I had chosen not to. Not to do it. But the more I read about the more sketchy and the left is basically putting this out there. I believe that they have reasons for that. And they're spinning it to their direction. Leftist social media, anyway, is spinning it to their direction. So I got to be honest with you. It's probably not the best for me to do, but I've been very angry at the left, and if you are a person of European descent, whether you live in this country or outside of it, like if you live in Western Europe, in my opinion, you have no business supporting the left. They are vindictive, and they have vendetta against you. They're basically, I see the left as wanting you to be in a sadomasochistic relationship with people of color, and that's not going to go for me. And I think those that support it have no empathy for me, and so how am I to respond to them? Because they want to overblow everything and then censor anything that happens to people that look like me. I don't like them. I find them to be despicable on so many levels.
This morning, the video drawing international attention. Ahmaud Arbery, who's African American, is seen running on a Sunday afternoon in February in Brunswick.
The camera goes down right there.
Yes. Now we hear, because it looks like he's running after the car too. By the way,
I am not happy with the way this video turned out. It's no different from the Trayvon Martin video, and
well, there was no video of Trayvon Martin. There was audio, and the audio, by the way.
Well, I'm talking about as far as just kind of the media's evidence, and from my perspective, these stories, I kind of take an angle. I don't buy anything that comes from the media. The attorney for the Trayvon Martin is involved in this case now. I didn't know if you know that.
Oh, I know that too. Yeah,
Gregory McMichael and his son Travis, who are white, are in a pickup truck ahead.
So it's two black guys, or one
two
black
white guys. One of them is
one black guy, two black guys.
Is an ex-police officer, ex-law enforcement, and like I said, I'm not defending anybody. Murder. If this is murder, and they are found to be at fault, they need to be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Go ahead.
There's not too much here. The shotgun went off. You don't really see a whole lot. This is about the extent of it. The two men are engaged, and that's that. That's all we got to see on that video.
And there was fighting. From my understanding, there was fighting over the weapon. And like I said, this is a tragedy no matter how you look at it. Death is always wrong. I mean, death is always a tragedy. But this is, like I said, this is not the norm. And people are making it. I mean, the people on Twitter and social media are saying that black people can be murdered for just going outside and exercising and running. That is absurd. And the left, like I said, the left basically promotes this kind of egocentric nonsense. And then they,
what have you seen on social networks about this story?
Oh, you just go on Facebook, man. There was a leftist, I think he was white, but he was posting that, just going out for a jog, black people can be murdered. It's, you know what it is, Joe? For me, it's the same thing of nonsense. When someone had posted a late video of Colin Ferguson, and they were comparing Colin Ferguson to the other scumbag mass murderer, Dylan Roof. And they were like, when Colin Ferguson was arrested, did he get his Burger King? Because Dylan Roof obviously went to go get some Burger King. And it's such an absurd, just such an absurd statement. And my thing was, why don't you get the dude some Burger King? And I'm at the point where I want to make, like, I almost want to, I don't know, like, of a separate nation, but like maybe making America part of the United Nations. I don't see this kind of absurdity as tenable. Because to me, these people are so far off base on right and wrong and reality that there's just no living with them. The things they believe are to me completely cuckoo. And they continue to excuse nonsense behavior. And I've been aware of this for over 30 years. Since 1989, since I've always kind of been aware of it. I mean, for me, I'm kind of an atheist. So it was like me when I was going to catechism and stuff, and they were telling me religious stories and things like that. And I would say to myself, you really don't believe this stuff, do you? And the same thing when people give me this, like when I was going to college and people were filling my head full of this social justice nonsense that they were spewing. I'm like, you don't believe this stuff, do you? I mean, do you remember, Joe, when you went to, when you were being, when you were going to Hebrew school, did you ever say to yourself, like, you don't believe it? And like, was there a part of you that said, I don't believe this stuff?
Even when I was young, I never looked into the Torah or the Bible. I never looked at the stories in their most kind of at face value sort of way. I always recognized that there was some sort of allusion towards something else. It was a allegory or metaphoric meaning, and so I was always looking for that. And I was never good at deriving metaphor, or what I'm saying. I wasn't too good at decoding these sort of things, but I always recognized that there was. They were trying to tell me something bigger than what was at face value in the story. So in that sense, no, but I understand what you're saying. Yeah, right. I get what you're saying here. I think a lot of people too take that sort of religious ideologies at face value.
I see these religious zealots. I see these anti-racist leftists as blind as the religious zealots of my childhood. These people, I mean, how can and religious zealots, they've tried to censor in the past. I mean, we've had the Legion of Decency and all the rest. Now the anti-racist leftists are in charge, and they censor.
Have you ever known any Jesuits, or have you ever had any?
I've known a few of them. I've known people who've known them and stuff, and my parents were somewhat involved in the church, so and I've had some interesting conversations with a few priests and stuff like that. And there are portions of the Catholic Church that I like. There's portions of Catholicism that I like much more than the anti-racist left, which I find to be just a perversion and just abysmal. And they are the biggest liars, just the biggest con artists. And the more I look into them, the more I really despise them. They are, they're based on egocentrism, narcissism, and it's just awful. That's what the reason they censor, in my opinion, is because they don't want to be exposed to what they really are. Those in power don't want to be exposed, and they're awful. In my opinion, they're awful people. I really despise them. I think they have no empathy for the pain that they inflict, and they cause a lot of division, and they're just not good for society in general. And you know what they need? I mean, it's at the point where I don't know how we can break off like portions of the country, but these individuals are awful people. And conservatives better take note that these that what's coming down the pike and what is going to happen is not going to be good. These people believe in karmic debt and vendetta, and they're not coming for anything nice. They're coming into the most cruel, nasty people. And I believe that, and I haven't heard anyone to show me anything different about these individuals. I see nothing good from them.
Well, what would you like to see come out of this?
You know what? I mean, sooner or later, there's been talk about, and I don't know how, I don't want to misconstrue about how it was structured, but maybe making America kind of like the United Nations, where we have separate states, right? Like we're states are kind of like almost like separate countries, because this kind of leftist, anti-white, anti-European descent beliefs is nonsense. And look, I'm not a person that believes in, who believes in racial identity unless I'm being hurt and harmed. And this is something that hurts and harms people. And people that don't see that, they have no empathy for me. The anti-racist leftist believe in ideology first. Their main thing is ideology. Empathy is not on their radar, and empathy for people that disagree with them, not on their radar. There's none, zero, and they've gotten far worse over the years. And there's no middle ground with these people. These people are not moderates, and people that are being duped by these people are fools. You should never. I don't know why anyone of European descent would ever vote left, ever. You're voting. If you're a person of European descent and you're voting left, I think you're voting for masochism. You're a masochist if you're voting left.
Yeah, it certainly doesn't make sense. I don't understand it. I just don't. But that is the case, or so it seems. Anything else before we wrap this one up?
Now, did we show the whole video, Joe? Oh yeah, we showed the video of him getting.
No, we can definitely walk through. I thought you just you wanted to watch a part of it, so let's see what we got here.
According to a police report, the father, Gregory McMichael, said there had been several break-ins in the neighborhood, and a man he viewed as the suspect was running down the street. He and his son grabbed their guns and went after him, thinking he was armed. McMichael also said Arbery began to violently attack Travis. Arbery's mother says her son was just out for a daily jog.
He was into fitness, and that's just something that he did. It's something that he enjoyed doing.
An attorney for Arbery's family says he was unarmed and tried to avoid the truck. He says,
"What do you think so far? You buying this?"
You know what? I don't. You know, here's the deal. More evidence has to come out, and I don't want to speculate on anything. Like I said, you know what? If you own a firearm, this is just my personal opinion. If you conceal and carry, the only time you should confront someone is if they've assaulted. I mean, like if they've robbed somebody, you may follow them. But the only time you should confront someone if they've committed violent assault or they've assaulted, they're assaulting you. Then all bets are off. But in my personal opinion, the only time that you ever confront someone with a deadly weapon is that it's, you know, hey, your life is in danger. And when you have
Arbery was committing a crime. Georgia does have a statute allowing citizen arrest.
However, you must personally observe the crime. So it can't be you believe that someone may have committed a crime in the area in the recent past.
Supporters of Arbery's family have organized protests. LeBron James, Viola Davis, and Wanda Sykes among those voices.
There's LeBron, Wanda Sykes.
Sick and tired of being sick and tired. Look, this is not your grandfather's America.
Viola Davis stepping in the ring.
Outrage. NBC News has been unable to reach the McMichaels, but attorney Alan Tucker, who's known Gregory McMichaels for 30 years, says there isn't a prejudicial or racist bone in his body. Tucker says he released the cell phone video to get the truth out there. Two prosecutors recused themselves because of connections to the McMichaels, one of them from Waycross County, writing he thought their actions were perfectly legal, and Travis McMichael was allowed to use deadly force to protect himself after Arbery allegedly initiated the fight and grabbed his shotgun. On Tuesday, the DA, now responsible, called for a grand jury to consider criminal charges. But because of coronavirus closures, that can't happen until June.
Stop the video. Stop the video. I don't want to hear anymore. I mean, look, he could have grabbed the shotgun. And like I said, I don't believe in confronting anyone with a firearm unless my life is in danger or they've endangered somebody in my life. Like if someone, you know, kicked the guard, you know, beat up, you know, one of my, you know, like a friend of mine, and I saw him like beating them up, and then I ran them down. I might confront them with a firearm then, but that if they're running away, even then I would follow them. If someone was threatening me with physical force, I might, you know.
Well, you supported Trayvon Martin's killer. What was his name?
You know what? The evidence. George Zimmerman.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look. I mean, there are people who are still who believe that George Zimmerman murdered Trayvon Martin. There's not the evidence. All I say is that the evidence is not there to say that he murdered Trayvon.
Right.
And there's a lot of people who believe that trial that should never have gone to trial to begin with. That Trayvon Martin initiated the assault. There's a lot of misinformation about the Trayvon Martin case, including the main witness who supposedly lied about her identity. So there's a lot of just bad information out there.
For sure, you really be discerning, but beyond discerning, you got to use your common sense when you read into these stories. And
well, you know what I mean. People are entitled to due process, and this whole thing is kind of a lynch mob and mobocracy. And I'm not saying that America hasn't been about mobocracy and lynch mob violence, but the mainstream always condemned this kind of lynch mob mentality, and they've always, talked about due process. I mean, when O.J. Simpson was charged, there weren't white folks marching in the streets, although there were a lot of black people when he was acquitted of murder. And D.L. Hughley even said, well, we thought that was kind of payback. D.L. Hughley is a vendetta type of person, by the way. I mean, when you think that someone who you don't care, because he kind of said something of the effect that he didn't care about whether OJ did it or not. It's just complete selfishness and lack of empathy due to the fact that this person, you don't care whether a person slits the throat of the mother of their children and also murders, murders another person who's got a father and sister and stepmother who really care about them, and murders them in the most vicious, vile way. You've got to realize that there's a lack of empathy there. And it's just kind of sad that, we can't have these open conversations. Because in my opinion, I would expose them for the lack of empathetic human beings that they are. All these so-called civil rights, justice people, they have no empathy. I see them as mean, nasty people who are rife with vendetta. And those who support them are just a bunch of masochists giving in to these individuals, thinking they're being noble, and they're not.
That's right.
They're just being duped, and they're just stupid people. And that's all I have to say about that, Joe. I don't want to gain any more onto this. People should look.
I don't want to go in circles with it. I just wanted to get it out there that that we are on these stories, and we're going to keep presenting them, and we want your opinions. We need your opinions if we're going to thrive. So
hey, we need brutal honesty. We need hardcore debate. And look, man, let's put it out on the table. Put it out on the table. If what you say is true, let it stand up to its bootstraps under scrutiny. And there's just a lot of it, in the left, like I said, the left doesn't debate. They primarily censor. And they're awful. They have, like I said, they have no nobility. They're all about emotion. And in many ways, they're being completely duped.
Subscribe to the channel, and thanks for listening. Brian, are you done?
Is that
I'm done.
All right, we'll go out with the rest of this.
Watch. Please turn her off. Nothing against the mother, but that's just it's just for emotion, and it's not a good thing.
That's what these people are on the stage for. They're there to pull your emotional strings. So there you go. Another transparency and merit in the bag.
Yep.